How you doing, Jasmine? Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
It's lovely to have you here. So last night you played your first ever performance in the United States.
Yes.
So tell us a bit about that and what that means to you then to be here and actually doing it for real.
It was incredible. It was like, because I've been doing so much touring around Europe and like, because I'm from London, like I live in London, and being able to come here and do a performance, like we've got another performance tonight, it just feels amazing because one, it's all the songs from the new EP, and then it's also like a brand new territory, and it's a place that speaks English as well. So it was nice to actually like have a conversation with my audience occasionally. Yeah, it was amazing.
And where was it and how did the audience react?
It was at the top of the Standard Hotel, and it was beautiful.
Not too shabby. It was a good first place to have a performance.
It was pretty fun. It was like, it was kind of a bit like this because you had the windows like everywhere, and I could see like the city. It was like this massive penthouse. It was full of like people from my label and like the music industry, and it was really cool because like I knew a lot of them, and it was kind of just like an introduction to my music, and it was a good kind of first show. But tonight is like a proper show in a way. I'm gonna call that like my first headline show. In the US, because like it's actual like fans buying tickets, and it's gonna be like more of a community, I guess.
And that's in Webster Hall, right?
At the studio, yeah.
Also a great venue.
I'm so excited.
So how long was this coming like? I mean, it must be quite surreal where you're like, I'm doing it, I'm here in the United States. How long have you wanted to tour here and to perform here?
I mean, for ages, like I've wanted to tour like everywhere. So the fact that I get to like actually come here and perform is amazing. Like I've been here so many times. Some of the songs of the EP I wrote while I was in LA. On my last EP, I wrote some songs while I was here in New York, and now I actually get to like perform them. So I'm super happy.
So I want to talk to you about the song Old Friends. That's the song that we just heard as we walked onto the stage. I read some of the comments as well under the video, and it really resonates very strongly with a lot of people. And even with me, like the first line is, those who matter don't mind, they won't take up all of your time. So it's something that a lot of people can relate to. Like life is transient if you move away from home. So talk to me a bit about the story behind the song and what sort of mind frame you were in when you were writing it.
I mean, it's pretty like a universal song, I feel, because everyone always has those moments, especially like for me, I started doing touring like 2 years ago, and I left school to be homeschooled and then continue with music. And I was just really like missing my old mates basically, and just wanted to like see them all the time. But I was busy working, and I feel like everyone does that because everyone goes to school with their mates and then they leave, they go to different jobs, they go to different universities, they move to different cities. Like I want to move to America in like a couple of years. I'm going to miss my mates from London, like all of that stuff. So I was basically just wanted to like tell a story about like missing the people that you really care about.
Yeah. And how did they react? Did your friends react when they heard it and they're like, Jasmine?
I mean, my mates don't really listen to my music. Yeah. I'd find it a bit weird if they did. Like
they don't listen. I'm sure they've heard the EP.
They've heard
There's
the EP.
a song dedicated to them.
I mean, to be honest, like so it's dedicated to them, but like I think they were more like interested in some of the other songs because like one of the songs called Wonderland, like they were in the music video with me, and they were so happy about it. And when it came out, like we all listened to it on Spotify and was just like jamming with each other. Like we were so happy. But I mean, they're really happy for me that the EP's finally come out. But they're all like laughing about it in a way because they're just like, ooh, Jasmine's actually doing something, like she's releasing music. Like they're just joking around. Like they don't really like pay attention to my music. I'd be a bit weirded out if they did, because what I like about my friends is like when I'm with them, I don't talk about music at all.
But they're aware. You've got like 2.6 million subscribers on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
And so like, and you've been doing YouTube videos since the age of 10 or so. So it's just not, is it not something that's in the open dialogue with your friends?
Yeah, I mean,
they're aware of how much you're doing.
Yeah, they all know about it, and they all know like that I'm in New York at the moment promoting the EP. Like they're super proud of me, really supportive friends. But yeah, they all know about it.
And the song was co-written with Megan Trainor. Tell me about how that came about and when you were writing it.
Megan, so basically last year, January, I was in LA and I did a session with this writer called Ross Golan. And he's incredible, like I love him. And I wrote quite a few songs with him. And I was telling him about like how I was away from home and how I missed all of my like family members and my friends. I told him that story, and then I moved back to London because I'd finished my writing trip and I was working. at home. And then Ross, while I was in London, went and did the session with Megan. And Ross told Megan about like this story of mine. And he was like, I'm working with this girl and she's got this story about how she misses her mates and her home and all that stuff. And like he thought it could be a really interesting story. So him and Megan sat down and wrote Old Friends. And then Ross came over to London and then showed me the song. And he was like, he didn't tell me Megan like co-wrote it. He just like sat down at a piano with the producer, Johan. And they just, they played the piano and they were singing it to me. And I was like, oh my God, this song is amazing. Like it really captured like exactly what I told Ross, how I was feeling all the time. And then he was like, oh, and Megan Trainor like co-wrote it with me. And I was like, no way. I was literally just like in shock that someone who is such an inspiration to like young artists and writers, like she has really amazing like positive messages about like your body image and who you want to be and like everything like that. Like she really has like a good message. So I was so happy that someone like her had paid so much attention to my story and wrote such an incredible song for my project.
And have you had any interaction with her since like recording it and it being released?
Yeah, I mean, so she's been super supportive of my project on social media. Like she always shares videos of me like playing instruments and bass and singing like songs, and she always tweets my covers of her songs. And then I had the pleasure of hanging out with her last week because I was in LA.
Yeah.
And we spent some time, I did a performance for her. I covered one of her songs. It was like an award show. And it was like a surprise for her. She didn't know I was going to be there, and I just surprised her. And then backstage we were hanging out, and she was just super like loving. Yeah, she was so sweet.
And so Meghan Trainor is an example of someone who was like writing a lot of songs, and she wrote a lot of songs for other people and then started releasing her own songs. And then another young woman, Julia Michaels, who you also worked with on this album, right? She's only like 19, is the same example of someone who wrote loads and then was like, finally, this song is for me, I should perform it, and now she's her own performer too.
Totally.
So being, I guess, working with like such kind of stringent songwriters and such creative people, like, have you learned much from that experience, and how much as well, like, do you write yourself of what's on the EP?
I mean, Julia Michaels is an incredible example of like how amazing you can be, because she's honestly such a talented songwriter and singer and artist. And when I worked with her, it was so eye-opening because she's so real. Like she's just 100% like a normal person who just really loves music and is so creative and just, I don't know, like it's amazing and inspiring to work with her. For me, what I learned is like, it's just, songwriting is supposed to be simple, because everyone loves to like listen to those kind of songs where you can just get inside someone's head and you feel that you can relate to them. So that's what I try and do. And I've been, I co-wrote the EP with a lot of different writers all around. And this EP has been a long project in the making. Like some of the songs are from when I was 14. And I just decided to release it now. Like I really wanted to just, I have a lot of songs that I've written, and I'm saving some of them for future EPs and future projects. And I kind of just like, I looked through this file of music that I had, and I was like, I want to release that one, that one, that one, and that one.
Certain songs should be released at certain times. You know, it's all timing as well for things.
Totally.
And then in terms of music videos, is the video for Old Friends isn't recorded in London, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then there's the Jonas Blue remix version. And is that's also from London?
Yeah.
So are all the videos for the Wonderland EP going to be recorded where you grew up in London, or is it?
I want them to be. I'm not entirely sure, because we haven't really planned like the next couple of music videos. Like I'm pretty sure we're going to do a couple more. I haven't really talked with my team about where I want them to be yet, but I do want them to be in London, because like I feel the Wonderland EP, Wonderland is based on my kind of my childhood and how I grew up in this city, and Wonderland is like what I would describe London, and then also like the process of like growing up, I guess. So for me, Wonderland is like, I think it kind of needs to be filmed in London.
And so you recorded the album in different places too, though, LA, Stockholm.
LA, Stockholm, London.
And can you hear, do you think, in the difference is there like an influence of the space that you're in the different songs? Like, tell me which ones were recorded in different places, and can we hear like a Swedish influence or more UK vibe in some of them?
You can probably hear it in the production because, for example, Words, that was written while I was in Stockholm. I was with Julia, this writer called Jasmine Thompson, who always works with Julia Michaels. They're like a perfect duo. And I did a trip with them to Stockholm, and yeah, I mean, the producers, like, it's very, like, it's like a sweet kind of thing. Like, it's very kind of Europe sort of pop. And then Wanna Know Love and Drama, Fix Me, that was all produced by UK producers called Mark Crew and his team. And I feel like that's quite London because it's got, like, the strings and that whole kind of vibe. But yeah, I mean, lyric-wise, like, it was all kind of written with, like, English people or American people. So I don't know, I wouldn't say, like, lyric-wise or, like, melody-wise, but everyone's got their own thing, I think.
Yeah. And obviously the album is very personal to you.
Mm-hmm.
Which songs would you think that are now on the EP and they're being released? You say you have a catalogue from when you were younger, and some of them are now out in the open on this EP. Is there any that you're just like, okay, well, I just put all that out there and it's incredibly personal? What are some of the stories behind some of them?
I mean, so one of them is called Fix Me. That was written when I was like 14. I mean, that one's very personal to me because it's about like the relationship between me and my father. I released it and I was kind of like, okay, now my dad kind of knows that I wrote a song about him because I normally don't really let people know when I've got a song about them, let alone when it's out.
And they just figure it out themselves?
I guess so. I mean, I kind of told my dad about it.
Is this about me?
No, yeah, I guess. But like my dad was, so my parents got divorced when I was around like 6 or something. And it was because my dad he was an alcoholic. And so he is now, I think, like 7 years sober. And 2 years ago, I had like a bit of a rough patch with him because I was like going away touring so much and I see him every Sunday. And I was going through a stage where I was like, I couldn't see him every Sunday because I'd be working all week. I'd be away on tour and then I'd come home on a Saturday. I'd want to see my friends and I'd have to spend the whole day on Sunday with my dad. I love my dad, but I had other things to do.
Yeah.
Like I had a life that I needed to take care of. And it was just like, I couldn't dedicate a whole day to like seeing this guy. So I was like, I needed to like find a balance and I had to like talk to my dad about it. It was just this really hard time for me because I didn't want to like push my dad away and I wanted him to feel like I was there for him.
Yeah.
So I wrote that song about it and like 2 years later I feel like it's all cleared up because me and him are like fine now.
Yeah.
But it's just like kind of talking about my past. So I don't know, like it's always weird to like explain that to people like, oh, this happened in my family and this happened and now I'm writing a song about it. But it's basically a song dedicated to someone that like you really care about and you want to be them like for them and they're always there for you. So it was, I don't know, I think that's like my specific story about it, but I guess like a lot of people can relate to it because...
And has your dad reacted to it?
My dad always gets really emotional like whenever I sing. So like he is super happy with it and he likes all the songs, but it's not the first song that I've written about him. Like he's like the only person that I'm open to when I write a song about him. Like majority of my songs are reference to my dad.
Yeah. And then there's also a song called Someone Somebody.
Yeah.
I saw the title and I was like, I'm definitely going to like this because it's like it's about love or heartbreak or whatever it is. So can you tell us the story behind that?
Someone Somebody is basically just, I mean, okay, like I wanted to keep in touch with my ex because I really cared about him. And it's just really difficult to like be friends with them, but then see them like do all the things that you did in your relationship with someone else. Yeah. Like especially with like social media and everything. Like everyone shows
can't stay
everything.
Away. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I was always aware when he was like going out with someone new or anything like that. So I was just like, okay, I don't want to see that. Like it hurts and I can't really ignore it. So I kind of just like based that on that kind of feeling.
And then when you write these songs, is it, I guess like a lot of songwriters find that, is it like therapy where you're just getting it all out there and the process of writing that and then also the process of singing that? How does it help?
For me, it's just like I'm very bad at articulating. Like when I speak to people, like
very poor, yeah.
Yeah, but like,
not getting a word you're saying now.
No, but I mean, like if my friends ever come up to me and they're just like, Jazz, what's wrong? I'm just like, I don't know. Like I really don't know.
But then talking about your feelings.
Yeah, talking about my feelings or like explaining something. But I mean, I'll always like tell people that I'm writing with, everything. Like, I literally just spill every single word that like is in my head, and then it always comes out better in songs for some reason. Because for me, like, melodies are easier to like explain your feelings than words, because like I can't write essays, I can't do any of that. So for me, songwriting is a lot easier.
And then a lot of the songs are very melodic and they're quite slow and evocative. And of course, it would make sense that one would be featured on Grey's Anatomy. So Old Friends was on Grey's Anatomy recently, wasn't it?
Yeah.
When was that?
Oh my gosh. It was like 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you watch the episode?
Yeah, well, I watched like the part that my
What was
son
happening?
was on. It was crazy. Like, there were like 7 different things going on within like 3 minutes. Like,
Okay.
I think someone was like
Was it a
crying in an
little montage-y
elevator.
thing?
Yeah, it was like a montage, and I watched it and I was like, oh my God, there are so many feelings going on right now.
And are you a fan of Grey's Anatomy?
I mean, I was like, my mum really loved it, and she had like all of the box sets and everything. So I spent a while like kind of like, I think I like flipped through it. But to be honest, like I prefer like the zombie kind of movies and that kind of stuff. Like, it's not really my kind of TV show.
But then even the process of that, like, how does that happen? Do they contact you and tell you that it's going to be featured?
I mean, they told me it was going to be featured,
Yeah.
and it was crazy because it was like, it was what was it? It was like the day that Old Friends came out, like the single, and they told me like 4 days before it was going to happen or something. Yeah, I was so like blown away because it couldn't have been like a better kind of release day for the song. It really helped it. Like,
Yeah, you couldn't have planned it any better at all.
Yeah, it was good.
And like Grey's Anatomy, I looked into it because I was like, there's so many times I was watching a show like that, and especially Grey's Anatomy, that you'd hear a song and it's so evocative in terms of like the music and then the scene that you're watching with it. So it broke bands like Snow Patrol and The Fray and Ingrid Michaelson. So did you notice, like, do you follow on Shazam? Did you notice like a big jump in how many people were listening to it or how many people found you?
Yeah, it was crazy. Like, I don't know the exact number, but it was like 30,000. Is that right? I don't know, 30.
God.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like, 30,000 Shazams on like the first day. Like, I was blown away. I'm really bad with numbers, so I was like checking with people.
There's too many numbers in your life though. Like, your social media following is what? Like, how many million? If you add it all up.
Oh my God. This is the thing, like, I never check it. I mean, my YouTube is like 2.6, I think. And then Instagram is like just about like 600,000. But yeah.
It's massive.
Thanks.
So like, let's go back then to the sort of the beginning. So you started on YouTube when you were 10 recording covers. So when did it really all begin to take off? Because of course there's like the teething period and you're younger. Like, when did it really start jumping and people started taking note of your music?
I mean, I was just posting like covers for a couple of years. And I think when I was like around 12, I got spotted by my management, and a lot of other YouTubers and like big Facebook pages were like sharing my covers and my music, and they were like, oh, look at this really young girl. Like, they were really supportive, and a lot of people started following me and also supporting my music. And then my management found me, and then gradually I got introduced to my label. And yeah, I mean, when I was around like 13 or 14, like, I got a lot of like spotlight on social media.
And when you were 10 though, did you like set up the camera and just do it all yourself and edit the videos yourself?
I mean, I did it with my mum. So
That's
like,
amazing.
She filmed it on like this tiny little iPod, and we were just in like my mum's room, and I was lying on the bed just like singing my little cover, and then we did that, and then that was like pretty much it. Like, we had like no expectations, and we didn't really like think about it too much. We just wanted to like go ahead and post.
And then I guess in terms of like, you're 16 now, so it's only been 6 years, but these are really kind of profound, prolific years of your life, and you're growing up in the social media limelight. So I know it's probably hard to detach yourself because it's never really not been like that for you, but does it ever get overwhelming, or do you ever just kind of want to shut off?
Not really, because I mean, well, like everything, there's always hard moments with any kind of job or any like moment, especially like within your teen years. It's a very hectic time.
Yeah.
But for me, like I've got a really supportive team around me and my family, and I always go back home to London like every other week, and I spend so much time with my friends and my family that it's very easy to just take a break, whether that's just like going out to dinner with friends or just staying in my room and spending a night watching Netflix. Like, it's literally really easy to just put yourself in your own like personal bubble, but it's not necessary most of the time.
And how do you interact with the comments a lot? And how do you detach yourself from things that you might not want to read or might not want to see?
I mean, to be honest, like I just try and keep in mind that everyone's got their own personal like opinion. So I always spend like every day on Twitter. Like I always talk to my followers and I always like chat to them and answer questions or anything like that. So I'll be chatting to them every day. But I mean, I try so hard not to spend too much time on social media. Like it's really easy to just like go on Instagram if I'm not doing anything. Like even if it's for 2 minutes, but it adds up all the time. So I'm trying to put my phone away and just like look around sometimes. And if I ever see anything negative, I'm just like, well, that's their opinion. I'm just happy to make music. So if majority of people are positive about it, then those other people, unless if they have like actual like constructive criticism, then I'll listen to them. But like if it's just like unnecessary hate, then I'll just like kind of ignore it.
I saw a Snapchat video that you did recently.
Oh my God. I always
tell us a bit about that.
I mean, like if people just say unnecessary things about like, for example, body image or like, because like as a young like teenage girl, a lot of people say things about your body and what you're supposed to look like and like you need bigger this, bigger that, like fix your face and all of that stuff. And I'm just like, I don't need that. I also don't agree with that. If anyone wants to do that to themselves, like plastic surgery, they can. Like it's their decision. I personally don't want to. I'm not going to judge anyone who does, but I'm going to judge someone who tells me to do it. Like you can't tell me what to do because I am fine with the way that I am. I also don't agree that they're saying that on social media where lots of other young girls are like seeing that and viewing that and thinking that, oh, if someone else needs to go change their body, maybe I should too. I don't want those little girls like growing up thinking that they have to go change themselves to like fit other people's opinions. So I felt really strongly about that because someone told me to go change. I don't know how like explicit I can be on this program, but like
very explicit.
They told me that I had to go change a certain part of my body, and I was like, no, I don't. I definitely do not need to go change that because that is the way that I am.
No, and it's very commendable the fact that you reacted because a lot of people would see the bad comments and like, no, the key is you just don't really react and you ignore them.
You need to say something
to it. But if you react, it's good because then it shows that you're not standing for it or that you disagree, rather than sometimes no reaction might make it look like you do agree or you do care.
Yeah.
You let it get you. So
the thing is, I do care about it because like I don't think that should be shared on social media. That's why I think social media can be so dangerous for like people growing up on it. And I just think that it's important, especially if you have that power to share messages and you have an audience on social media, it is important to try and give out positive messages all the time.
And use the platform.
Yeah.
And then I guess as an artist who got their beginnings in social media, and now you have your own music and your own EP, is it sometimes hard to like set yourself apart from, say, your YouTube covers? Do you ever have to explain it or feel like you're explaining, I did that and that was successful, but there's also this?
I mean, it's definitely a thing that YouTube artists find it very hard to transition from YouTube to radio and like detach themselves from it. But in a way, it's not like I want to detach myself from it. It's just I want to like add more to it because I respect the fact that I come from my YouTube background because I spent so many years on there having the time of my life just posting videos and being with a really supportive community and fan base. So I did all of that stuff, and then now all I want to do is I just want to like release my own music. And the reason why I spent like so long just posting covers and not posting any original music, because I didn't feel like I was ready for it. I didn't want to put my music out there. I wanted to save it and release it at the right time. So now I'm ready for it. I just hope that like my YouTube fan base can follow me to my original music as well. But that's up to them.
I guess and even if you think about it, your original music is still obviously not the same songs, but quite in the
similar.
Same tone as a lot of your covers. So there isn't that big a divide between the kind of thing you would expect from one of your covers and from your original songs.
That's what I kind of wanted to do. Because I mean, like what I used to do with my covers is like I'd hear like a pop song or any kind of song and I'd just be like, I want to cover it. So I'd make it into like a piano-based cover. I'd just play the piano and then I'd sing over it. And with my original music, that's how I write. Like I'd write with piano chords and then put lyrics and melodies over it. And I feel like it comes across. And that's the thing. I don't want to go into like a massive different lane because like that's not really me.
Yeah. And then, of course, like one of your big breaks was the collaboration with Robin Schulz, the DJ. Who else are you listening to these days, and who else would you really like to work with?
I'm listening to this guy called Muramasa.
Oh, yeah.
I love him
And
so much.
Bonsai, the girl that sings with him, she's from Dublin.
Yeah, no way. Oh
Yeah.
my God, she's beautiful. Like, they did a concert in London, like end of last year, and all of my friends went. I wanted to go so bad, but I think I was like flying out the next day.
Yeah.
But they all told me about it. I was just so envious. Like, I love them so much. They're incredible. Like, they did a lot of like live lounges in the UK, like on radio stations, and they're really cool to watch. Like, they're proper musicians, and Bonsai's got an incredible voice.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just into like a lot of Outkast and Liberation and what's it called, Lauryn Hill, like all of those kind of music.
Stuff too,
yeah, old school. Like I'm listening to like Cindy Staton and Stevie Winwood. Like there's a lot of that kind of stuff.
And then collaboration-wise, is it true that are you collaborating with Sabrina Carpenter sometime soon? I saw your Instagram post.
Yes.
What's happening there?
So me and her, so she was on tour supporting the Vamps in Europe, and when she was in the UK, I was around, so I was like, because me and her, we were actually taught by the same teacher when we were younger, because we both came from YouTube. We both started out on YouTube around the same time. And there was this French guy called Didier who he did online like Skype vocal lessons, and he uses opera to train young female voices, and that is how I trained as a singer, and that's also how Sabrina trained. So we knew about each other because we were in the same kind of YouTube community.
Yeah.
And so since she was in the UK, I was like, let's hang out, and we made like a little cover together. I'm not entirely sure when it's going to come out, but it should be out soon.
Awesome. I think we have some questions now from the audience.
Hi, Jasmine.
Hi.
Just congrats on your EP. It's amazing. I listened to it like all last night. I'm going to your concert tonight with my friend. We're really excited. Yeah, we're so excited.
Thank you.
We're going to be jamming in the audience.
Yay!
So my question for you is, how did you come up with the inspiration for the album artwork? Because it's so interesting, and I think it's so unique. You don't really see albums with like personal doodles and stuff on it. And how does it connect with your songs?
Thanks. Thank you for coming tonight. I'll see you guys there. Basically, I spent a lot of time like daydreaming and doodling, and it's quite like a teenage kind of thing to like have diaries and little notebooks. And I always do like little doodles. And I was just thinking, like, I wanted it to be really personal because I didn't want to have an album artwork where it's just like a photo of me, because I wanted it to have like a bit of creativity in it. And my favorite color is yellow. So I was like, I wanted the yellow and the kind of sunset-y kind of vibes. And then also, for example, the bird up there, they're called... it's either magpies or mockingbirds, I always forget, it's one of them, but they're basically my favorite type of bird. And whenever you see them, there's this thing called lucky birds, and it's like, one is good luck, two is bad.
Magpies, one for sorrow,
Magpies.
two for joy.
Yeah.
But
I say the more that you see, the more lucky you are.
Yeah.
And in my home that I just moved to in West London, like they're everywhere. And I always wake up to them, so I was just like, oh, that has to be there.
Nice.
And like everything just kind of is something that me and my friends would do, just like running around and doodling, and it kind of just represents like different things.
And you drew all of this, did you?
No.
Okay.
No, because I don't trust myself to like draw. But like they were kind of like my ideas.
These were all inspired by your ideas.
Yeah, totally. Like I just didn't want to draw them myself.
I love it. 11 Make-A-Wish, the magpies.
Thanks.
It's very inspirational. The cactus, random but a cool image. And how did you decide on putting the sad face over the N? That's really cute. I love that.
Well, I mean, there's a photo from me and my friend, who's my best mate, called Kat. I think it was maybe during the summer or a while ago. We both just like, we always want to get tattoos. We're going to get tattoos when we're like slightly older, depending on my mom's opinion. But we both drew smiley faces on ourselves. So she had a little like sad face on her wrist, and I had a happy face, and then together we took like a photo, and that's kind of like how it stuck, to be honest.
So that's a little shout out to your friend Kat.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think we have one more question.
Hey, Jasmine.
Hi.
Big fan of the EP, and I'm also excited to go to your concert later today.
Thank you.
I just wanted to ask where you see yourself in like the next 2 or 3 years, and like what artists you want to work with, what places you want to play. Yeah.
It's a good question. I mean, to be honest, all I want to do is like continue making music. I want to be able to say that I've performed at lots of small intimate gigs and concerts, and hopefully play to like hundreds of people, thousands of people one day. But I just want to keep making music, releasing music, maybe working for other artist projects. But yeah, I mean, when the time is right, I just want to gradually just release more EPs and more albums. Yeah.
Continue traveling the world.
I want to travel the world.
More of LA, more of New York, more of Europe.
More of everything. Yeah.
And it's all ahead of you. Well, thank you so much for coming into us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And best of luck with the EP. It's great. And tonight as well, it's going to be awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll see you guys there. Bye.